arrived in Kalamazoo. It was October, and the war was still on. Gold and silver stars hung on pennants above silent windows of white and brick red cottage. In a backyard, old man burned leaves and twigs, while a gray-haired woman sat on the porch, her red hands quiet on her lap, watching the smoke rising above the elms. Both of them thinking the same thought perhaps, about a tall, grinning boy with his blue eyes and flying hair, who went out to war. Where could he be now this moment, when leaves were turning?
Actually, I'm Celestino Fabia, just a Filipino farmer. I had a farm 30 miles east of Kalamazoo.
Oh, you came all that way here just to leave me to?
I've seen no Filipino here for so many years now. So when I saw your name in the papers, when it says you come from the islands, that's where we're going to talk. The Philippines more than 20 years ago, and I've never been back. Never will perhaps. I want to find out, sir, are our Filipino women the same like they were 20 years ago?
First, tell me what our women were like 20 years ago.
Yes, you're too young. 20 years ago, our women were nice. They were modest. They wore their hair long. They dressed proper and went for no monkey business. They were natural. They went to church regular and were faithful. It's the men who ain't.
Well, it really interests you to know that our women have changed, but definitely. The change, however, has been on the outside only. Inside here, they are the same as they were 20 years ago, God-fearing, faithful, modest, and nice.
I'm very happy, sir.
Do you want to come inside the lobby?
No, thank you. You're tired and I don't want to stay out too late.
Yes, you live very far.
I got a car. Besides, will you do me a favor, please? I want you to have dinner with my family out in the country. I'd call you for tomorrow afternoon. Then drive you back. Will that be alright?
Of course. I love to meet your family.
You'll make my wife very happy.
You flatter me.
Honest, she'll be very happy. Ruth is a country girl and hasn't met many Filipinos. I mean, Filipinos younger than I. Thinner looking. Roger, that's my boy. He goes to this school in town. A bus takes him early in the morning. And he's back in the afternoon. He's a nice boy.
I bet he is. I've seen the children of the boys by their American wives. And the boys are tall, taller than their father, and very good looking.
Roger, he'd be tall you like him. Goodbye, and it was nice to meet you.
The next day he came. At about 3 in the afternoon, there was a mild, ineffectual sun shining, and it was not too cold. He was wearing an old brown tweed jacket and worsted trousers to match. His shoes were polished, and though the green of his tie seemed faded, a collared shirt hardly accentuated it. He looked younger than he appeared the night before now, that he was clean shaven and shimmy ready to go to a party. He was grinning as we met.
I says to her, I'm bringing you a first-class Filipino. And she says, oh, go away. Quit kidding, there's no such thing as first-class Filipino. But Roger, that's my boy. He believed me immediately. What's he like, Daddy? He asked. Oh, you will see, I says. He's first class like you, Daddy. No, no, I laugh at him. Your daddy ain't first class. Oh, but you are daddy, he says. So you can see what a nice boy he is. So innocent. Then Ruth starts creeping about the house. But the house is a mess, she says. True, it's a mess. It's always a mess. But you don't mind, do you? We're poor folks, you know. The trip seemed termin- terminable. We passed through narrow lanes and disappeared into thickets, and came out on barren land overgrown with weeds in places. All around were dead leaves and dry earth. In the distance were apple trees.
Ah, those apple trees.
Yes, those are apple trees. Do you like apples? I got lots of them. I got an apple orchard. I'll show you.
Those trees are beautiful on the hills.
No, thank you. You're tired and I don't want to.
Mali,
Yeah, you know,
mali.
the beauty.
Dito ka sa autumn's lovely season.
Autumn's a lovely season. The trees are getting ready to die, and they show their colors proud like.
No such thing in our own country. The remark seems unkind. I realized later. It touched him up on a long deserted tangent. But ever there perhaps. How many times did lonely mind take unpleasant detours away from the familiar winding lanes towards home for fear of this? The remembered hurt, the long lost shoot, the grim shadows of the years. How many times indeed? Only the exhale knows. It was a rugged road. We were traveling in the car, made so much noise that I could not hear everything he said. But I understood him. He was telling his story for the first time in many years. He was remembering his own youth. He was thinking of home. In these sad moments, there seemed no cause for fear, no cause at all, no pain. That would come later, in the night perhaps, or lonely on the farm under the apple trees. In this old Bisaya town, the streets are narrow and dirty, and strewn with coral shells. You have been there. You could not have missed our house. It was the biggest in town. One of the oldest, or was a big family. The house stood right on the edge of the street, a door open heavenly, and you enter a dark hall leading to the stairs. There's the smell of chickens roasting on the low top walls. There's the familiar sound they make and you grope your way up massive staircase. The Vhan sisters smooth upon the trembling hand. Such nights. There are no better than the day's windows are closed against the sun. They close heavenly. Mother sits in the corner looking white and sick. This was her word, her domain. In all these years, I cannot remember the sound of her voice. Father was different. He moved about. He shouted. He ranted. He lived in the past and talked of honor as though it were the only thing. I was born in that house. I grew up there into a pampered brat. I was mean. One day I broke their hearts. I saw mother cry wordlessly as father heaped his curses upon me and drove me out of the house, the gate closing heavily after me. And my brothers and sisters took up my father's hate for me and multiplied it numberless times in their own broken hearts. I was no good, but sometimes, you know, I miss that house. The roasting chickens on the low, top walls. I miss my brothers and sisters. Mother sitting in her chair. looking like a apple ghost in a corner of the room. I would remember the great post pointing downwards. Wilted and died before they could become flowers. A stick fell on the floor. Father bent to pick them and throw them out into the car streets. His hands were strong. I have kissed these hands many times, many times. Finally we rounded a deep curve and suddenly came a funny shanty. All but ready to crumble in heap on the ground. It plastered. Walls were rotting away. The floor was hardly a foot from the ground. I threw off the cottage of the four colored folk in the south. The hovels of the four everywhere in the land. This one stood all by itself, as taught by common consent. All the folk that chose to live here had decided to stay away, despising it, ashamed of it. Even the lovely season could not color it with beauty.
Oh, very nice.
I don't know who she is. I picked that picture many years ago in a room in LaSalle Street in Chicago. I have often wondered who she is.
The face wasn't there in the beginning.
Oh no, it was young Will.
Hi, I am Liz.
I know. Now, I'm thinking where all the essence of apples came from. The room is full of it.
I'll show you. Today, I take some of them from town and sell to the groceries. Prices have been low. I've been losing on trips.
This apple is spoiled.
Well, feed them to the pigs. The house, Ruth. You'll freeze to death.
I won't leave you.
Finally the US mail car arrived. The mailman, who knew them well, helped them board the car, and without stopping on his usual route, took the sick man and his wife direct to the nearest hospital. Ruth stayed in the hospital with Fabia. She slept in a corridor outside the patients. Word and in the day, time helped in scrubbing the floor and washing the dishes and cleaning the men's things. They didn't have enough money, and Ruth was willing to work like a slave.
Ruth is a very nice girl, like our own Filipino woman. Well, I guess I won't seeing you again.
Tell Roger and Rick, I love them.
They'll be waiting for me now.
One of these days, I hope, I'll be going home. I could go to your hometown.
No thanks. Thanks a lot, but thanks. But you see, nobody would remember me now.
Okay, goodbye.